My teenage years was very heartbreaking. I think I didn't have the safety of like having an actual father to like guide me in the direction of like I'm having these big emotions and I don't know what's going on with me. Hello, everyone. Welcome to an episode of Breaking the Cycles. I'm your host, Tasiyah. This is your co-host, Laziena.
Hi.
We are here with our great friend, Gerren. He's a coach. Introduce yourself. Say hello.
Tell yourself.
Hey everybody.
Let him know. I know. I just want to encourage him.
So I get to introduce myself here now?
Yes, now you
Here
can.
we
Yes.
go. All right. Hey everybody. My name is Gerren Sprouth. I am a speaker and a coach, and I live here in Central Florida. I am also an entrepreneur and an author. All those beautiful, great things that have come over the years.
Awesome.
Keep it there for right now. Let's jump on in.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
Looked at me as if you
I-
could go.
Do you see how awkward we are right now?
It
Garen,
has
I
been
didn't know
great.
that you were in Central Florida.
Yeah.
Good to know. Okay. Are you, well, we'll talk about that later, I guess.
Stop trying to
Sorry.
get him to dox himself.
Okay. Sorry, viewers. I am Laziena and I'm awkward. And I've embraced this about myself. It's part of my charm. Oh, Karen, you and I had a little bit of conversation about how we've broken cycles in our family. The other night, he and I were sitting down and we were just having some moments, and I was feeling a little bit sad. She said to me, "What would your teenager like to hear right now?" And I was like, I feel like I've developed a really good relationship with my teenager, and she doesn't really have anything to say. She just wants to be witnessed. And she said, "Go ahead, let's witness her." And it was the most beautiful 30 minutes of deep cry, just really witnessing her myself without any judgment, any all the awareness, right? Without making any excuses or going backwards or just observing it. And it was such a beautiful moment with us because there was a time when I was parenting and I would make Tasia in a way be responsible for my feelings to make me feel better. But in this way, it was, it was very
It was a different approach.
Yeah.
It was more the way, sorry, not to cut you off.
No, you
But
didn't.
like it's different than when I was a kid. It was a lot of like me emotionally regulating you.
Yeah.
Versus now it's like I understand you have emotions and like who doesn't have emotions? I think even as a kid I always saw that you were growing up with me.
Mhm.
And that's also me like understanding my childhood, but even now it's like you're still a woman at the end of the day. You've still had experiences, and I know my teenagers sucked for me, and if it sucked for me, it had to have sucked for you. And that
Yeah.
was just me witnessing you at that moment too. But even like when it comes to emotional regulation with us, it just feels like I'm giving you space to authentically feel
Mhm.
rather than shaming you or judging you for how you're feeling.
Yeah, or taking up space away from you.
Mhm.
So it made me think about our recording because I know that you and I have a similar experience when it comes to our teenager, and I felt like maybe that's something the three of us could talk about because Tasia also isn't that far away from her teenage years. Like her teenage years, she endured a lot, and I just felt like that's the kind of conversation that we would have.
Yeah. I'm all for it. Let's dive right in.
My teenage years was very heartbreaking. I didn't have the safety of like having an actual father to like guide me in the direction of like I'm having these big emotions and I don't know what's going on with me. Like I had a sexual relationship with somebody that was my age when I was like 10 years old. And to me, it was this big impactful thing where I thought I was gay secretly for like 10 years and then coming out with it when I was 16, it was like it was kind of shamed or like you're not really gay. And then me doing my work, I did understand I wasn't really gay. It was a trauma response. But like my teenage years was confusing. I had no idea who I was. I didn't know what I was actually gonna do. The people that I wanted to go to were of no help. Sorry, not sorry, but like
Oh my God. This is great. Let's go.
yeah, like I mean, I left my household when I was 17, 18, still a senior in high school and sprung myself into the real world. I was in an unhealthy relationship for years and like still dealing with the the effects of what my stepdad did to me. And that was another sexual relationship that I basically had to be forced into. Dealing with the sexual abuse in itself, it took most of my identity. I became
Mhm.
this person that was traumatized, that lived in the abuse and carried the abuse on my shoulders to every degree in my life, whether that was financially, whether that was educationally. I used to use it as my crutch, like, oh, well, this happened to me. I didn't have the resources, so what am I going to do now? And I stayed in such a deep victim mentality as a teenager. But in reality, I just needed to be heard. I needed to be like validated in my experience. And I mean, like, one of the biggest things was us healing our relationship. But one of the things I kind of still need now is to have a conversation with my father. Like not that I need it, but I would love to have the deep conversation of like, this is what happened in my teenage years. Like, what do we do about this? And that need to have that conversation. Now I'm in a better place of understanding it, but the years of my unawareness, like before 2 years ago, it was so deeply rooted in dysregulation in my body that like it led me down pathways that I wouldn't want my future child to go through. I wouldn't want my brother and my sister to go down, but it was a crazy world.
Yeah.
It was a very dark and crazy world. I did things that I never wanted to do. I did things that I thought I wanted to do, but in reality, I didn't. I was just kind of lost.
Right,
I
can
think
I
I
ask a
still have
question?
memory gaps where I don't even remember everything fully, and then it still comes to like I'll bring up to you like I've had some memory flashback, and then it's like, wow, I did that in my state of unawareness. That's crazy, or that actually happened. But then it's hit with the reality of like it's not really crazy. A lot of people are also going through that too. A
Can I
lot
ask
of
a
people
question on
have.
that one?
I'm sorry, I cut you. What did you
It's okay.
say?
I was just asking if I could ask a question to
Yeah,
that.
go ahead.
Please.
So what I hear you say, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that although you have healed, you still feel a desire to have a conversation with your stepfather, right? Why is that? Like, what are you hoping will happen if you do have that conversation?
I think what it is that I want to hear an I'm sorry. And it's like the I'm sorry of accountability. And I think by me expecting the accountability, it's setting myself up for unrealistic expectations. And I think a part of me is still holding on to that this can be healed, that I can have a relationship with my dad. And I have to be okay with that. I can't for right now. Maybe years down the line, it can be open towards us actually healing what needs to be healed. But I think a part of me is still holding on to that I would like to have a relationship with my dad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What if he hasn't done the work like you've done the work, like you and Mama have done the work? Then what? What do you do with that?
I'm realizing that now.
Hmm.
And it sucks because I know I'm not gonna have a relationship with him. And it's like I'm holding on to the hope that there will be one. Because like how I grew up, my dad was so much about psychology, so much about healing, so much about like wanting to do it better that this one thing happened and it drastically changed the outcome of like going like of the work that we needed to do and the healing that he needs to do too. So now it's like, okay, well, he's no longer in prison now. He's out and it's no accountability. Nothing, no reach for wanting to do it differently, no reach to like anything.
Hmm.
So now I'm just kind of accepting that nothing really will come out of it. I just have to kind of
Can
plug
I
it
can I
out, but also feel it out and
can I share
accept that
something?
it's not my responsibility to want a relationship with him. My responsibility is to heal my relationship with myself. So that way it doesn't affect whoever I'm around. Like I'm in a happy relationship now, and one of my fears is that my father wounds are gonna crack through the surfaces and is like gonna infect the relationship. But in reality, that's me self-sabotaging. In reality, that's me questioning my own morals and questioning my safety with myself when it's not necessary. And if anything, it just means that I need to tap into more self-love and more self-forgiveness, if anything, where I'm not carrying the shame of something that was not my responsibility to carry.
I applaud you and I acknowledge you for what the work that you've done and for your awareness, right? So everything that you're saying there, beautiful, like awesome. So with all of that awareness, what's missing? Why are you going back and like grabbing dad and like bringing him to 2025? You're taking steps forward. And you're like, ah, keep coming, come with me. What's that? With all that awareness that you have. That's so beautiful.
Thank you.
This is the work that we do. That is so, so beautiful. So beautiful.
Oh, this is a good cry. I needed this cry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm with you.
No, don't feel awkward. We
Not
can
at
just
all.
always punt. We could always punt it to him.
Oh, okay. So can I share something with you?
Yeah, but
All right.
please do.
All right. Well, so my abuser when I was a kid was someone that I loved dearly, and I still love them dearly. And after I've gone through therapy to finally, and this is probably, I don't know, 30 years later, I finally went through therapy so that I can define what happened in my past as sexual abuse. Because for me, it was a female, I'm a guy, so I always like, whatever. I looked at it as normal, natural. But I finally was able to define it as sexual abuse. And when I did, I called my family member up and I told them, like, hey, here's where I'm at right now. And we had a very long conversation. And I said, listen, I love you. Like, I don't hold any harsh feelings towards you. Like you were a kid also, and things happened to you, so you did that to me. So I understand. And I said to them that, hey, I plan to talk about this. And I want you to know that if you ever hear me talking about it, I'm not angry at you. I'm using this so that I too can heal. And she agreed and she gave me her blessing and said, like, go for it, Karen. All right. I have tried, after we had that conversation, I've tried to reach out to her. And I've reached out randomly, when I'm just having a feeling within. I'm just like, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for where I'm at. I'm so grateful for my family. And I would shoot her a text and say, hey, I just want you to know that I love you. No harsh feelings at all. No response. We've met again at like family funerals and we have a great time talking, hanging out, and all that good stuff. But any other conversation outside of those kind of common area conversations, nothing. And I've finally gotten to the point where I realize that however she's handling it, that's her. I don't want to say it's her business, but it's her journey. And how I'm handling it, like that's my journey. And I may never have another relationship, like family relationship with her again. And I have to be okay with that. But in the meantime, I'm getting to meet people like you, right? I'm living and I'm getting to pour into my kids and my wife and my family. And it's all beautiful. So I share that to say, like, I'm whole. I'm just continuing on my journey, and you're whole. You're continuing on your journey too, right? Whether or not your stepdad comes around, you're still whole. When you were first born, your mom probably lifted you up and she said, like, she's beautiful, she's precious, she's everything. And all you did was pooped and ate. And she's like, she's everything, she's perfect. So without you lifting a finger, doing a thing, you were perfect in the very beginning, and you still are. So if you would embrace that, you'd be okay.
Thank you.
You're okay.
Mm.
All right.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate I was able to receive that and I definitely needed that. So thank you.
Good deal.
I think would you like to say hello? We are recording a podcast episode right now. This is our friend Gerren.
Hi.
No, don't say it like that. Mm-mm.
Hello.
Bring your head in a little bit because you kind of like blend into the background. There you are.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. There you go.
There we go. Good to meet you.
Yeah, this is my youngest
Mhm.
twin. She just
Okay.
turned 17 2 weeks ago. Yeah, she's the girl of the boy.
Okay. Okay. Wait, that was a whole lot of piercings. I like those.
Yeah,
That's
she does have a lot of piercings.
They're cool.
I don't know
awesome.
what her mom is thinking. We are in the middle of recording, so this is just great. We're
That's awesome.
just embracing our authenticity here while
Yeah.
we're being distracted by
Another loved one.
a very loved one.
Yes. As I'm listening to you, I'm thinking about the people who have been following you on your podcast and listening to your stories and the stories of others. Like what have you heard from them? Like what's being transformative within them as a result of listening to you guys or experiencing your
I think for the most part, what I'm hearing is a lot of empowerment. Yeah. A lot of empowerment, not only just empowerment, is authenticity with the empowerment. And I feel like that reflects beautifully to other people.
Okay.
And it's still a little weird to accept that too.
Why? Why is that? Why is that?
I mean, there's always a little self-doubt that pours in here and there, but it's more like there's this little girl inside of me. They used to sit down, and I tell the story all the time. Sit down on my grandparents' front porch and always looking up at the airplanes and wondering what everybody's doing. And sometimes I have to like stop myself. And this is why I started my Two Roses and Thorn community too, to like acknowledge,
Mhm.
name, acknowledge, and celebrate. Because first, whenever we're sad for weeks and sad for months. And now it's time when it's time to celebrate, it just goes away that
Right.
easily. So I
Right.
tend to like think back about if I were to walk up to her sitting in Guyana in my grandparents' bench, how would she feel? So, it brings it all back in, and then I feel powerful, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go post some random shit now. I'm gonna go pass this on. But it's
Hmm.
I find that it's been very inspiring, and I get that feedback a lot.
Good.
And I like that. I think it's more than my purpose, right? But it's one way of doing it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it feels really good.
I love that. I love that. It can go beyond being inspiring, right? So there could be some uh, conscious creation that people can
That's
do
it right
as a
there.
result of it. So yes, there's one thing to be inspired, but like, what are we going to do next, right?
Yeah.
Because the past has happened, right? We don't have to bring it forward. Every
Mm.
single day we have the opportunities to be new creatures, right?
Yeah.
To renew our minds. And if we believe that to be true, then like what are we doing with the gift of tomorrow or the
Yeah.
gift of today, right? Like who do you want to become? Shared a little bit, both of you have shared a little bit about who you have chosen to become
Hmm.
and your audience as they're out there.
Hmm.
I encourage them to now choose to be a conscious creator. Like
Yeah.
really step into that powerfully and list out where you see yourself um, and just step into it.
Yeah. That
It's a
was what we
powerful
did
tool.
2 years ago.
Mm.
We decided who we were gonna be and
Hmm.
got on the path.
How's the journey been so far?
Oh, amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah? Why?
And
Why?
well, it's amazing because I don't even know how to describe it. So I do a lot of spiritual work, not even spiritual work, consciousness work, because
Okay.
spirituality can be a little boxed in. And I realized for me, I have this remembering and this knowing of who I am.
Mm.
And I've had the experience of witnessing my wings. So it's been really nice to participate in this human journey consciously. And sometimes people will see my post and they'll reach out to me like, "Are you okay? Do you need something?" And I'm like, when it comes to my post, you also have to remember that I'm a conscious creator. And so my posts are meant to be a seed, so to speak. It's done with intention. Everything that I create has an intentionality behind it. And when we created this path, I started creating it, and then Tasia and I co-created it. I saw the end, and I still see the end. There's no end. It's continuous, right? But it's one of those things where I get so excited when it all comes into alignment, and it's like even if it's like there's a moment of doubt, it's like, no, no, everything's gonna work out. And when it does, it's like, oh my gosh, this is what I
What?
want.
What's that?
It was
That's
just
what you
like
want?
exciting. It's like, oh my
Okay,
God, this is
excited. Okay.
happening.
Oh,
Yeah, like it's so
oh.
it's like I start sweating. My armpits are like, I swear to God, I'm gonna be on stage one day, be like, guys, I need paper. And that's my sign.
Uh,
My body tells me when I'm living in purpose and when I
yeah,
am I am doing what I'm meant to do and I'm, being my being. And sometimes when I need to drop into my human, my being my being is my humanness and embracing that with complete authenticity and authentic power and not doing, even if I'm scared, not letting the emotions or anything like that no longer stopping me. I'm still gonna do it scared. And look in, hey, why did that scared even come in there? Like, what is it? Who is it touching? What does it still need? What love does it still need? What is it trying to motivate me to do?
yeah,
So even as a conscious creator, when the opportunities come up, it's like knowing that this isn't a layer of something I need to fear anymore. It's something that needs love and being a willing participant in that. Like I'm intentional with my words, my life, what I want to create, who I want to create it with. Yeah, and just keep going.
Love
Sky's
it.
the limit. There's opportunities right around the door, and always saying yes. I think I've said this to you, saying yes when it feels like yes, and when it feels like no, still say yes and ask why I said no, because it might be something that just needs to be overcome or face it, whatever it is. So
Ah.
it's been wonderful, amazing.
What about you, Tasia?
He's interviewing us.
Oh, you noticed that?
Notice.
I'm just curious. I'm curious. That's all.
It has been the most healing journey. I mean, I came from being the most suicidal person
Mhm.
to not even having those thoughts anymore. I went from harming myself and drug use to now I'm literally like, I don't choose the methods that I did before.
Yeah.
What I choose now is peace. I am like the mediator of my friend group where if anybody has any, like, and it's not even like before I was like the therapist of the friend group. And now it's that if people need to talk to a sane person, they come to me. And it's like now being such a safe and calming person where I'm not just taking on the emotions of other people. I get to actually do the work that I wanted to do. When I was a teenager, I wanted to become a therapist. I took AP psychology in high school and I passed with the highest grade in for my psych test. I wanted to go to school for psychology, and I had let small stuff with my stepdad get in the way of that. And now I am like literally doing the work that I wanted to do. I'm doing the experiential therapy. I'm so integrated in doing emotional body work that it's exactly what I wanted to do from the beginning. So
Awesome.
now it's like I get to like actually I'm not finding, I'm living the steps of following my dreams. And it's like going to become reality in a few years down the line. Like once the full final picture comes together, it's like, wow, I did that. And, like I actually healed myself. I actually like picked myself up, hugged my little girl, held the hand of my teenager, and walked through life with them. And
Nice.
having the awareness of doing that is such a like impactful thing where I get to help other people do that too.
I think what's the most impressive thing to me too about you is that you're 24 now, and I feel like that's such success. Success. When I was 24, I wish I had like your awareness is so incredible that I mean, we go to a personal development workshop every 2 months. It's
Mhm.
very experiential. It's a beautiful community. And it's inspiring us to have our own, but like you can literally lead that, like run it, lead it, like your knowledge of not only the journey,
And
but
see, years ago, I would have been terrified of that idea.
yeah.
And now my body's like, let's do it. I want to do it so
Yeah.
badly. Like, I'm not scared of who I am anymore. Before, I
Yeah.
was like, what if I'm this terrible person? And like, I know I'm not a terrible person. I know who I
Mhm.
am, and I'm confident in what I have and my capabilities and my skills.
Yeah.
And I just like bringing that out in other people too. I love the people world when people actually consciously want to be a part of the world. And even when they're unconsciously don't want to, I love like the little gap of watching them like in their interaction with me overcome that themselves.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I have like two or three friends where 6 months ago I was severely worried about them. And now I get the little messages of like, thank you for being a part of my life. And I get the messages of like, this is what I learned, or oh my gosh, you told me about this whole like cycle, and I'm now experienced. I know what you mean now, and it's like it's so cool watching people come and having their like consciousness completely be like in the forefront.
And that is such a I feel like we need to ask Garen some questions too, but
Yes, I do.
at the same time, I just want to say this real quick that
Go for it. Go for it, Lazina.
our relationship was
Yeah.
not like this.
No,
It
no.
took 7 years to get here. 7 years of understanding what our emotional needs are, how we need support in it whenever it's happening, so we're not impacting each other's growth opportunity, but being there side by side, like, and that also meant me healing myself I don't know. I don't like to use the word healing because it's such a thing, but it is, I guess it fits. But like being able to shift me so that I can be alongside you rather than like trying to heal you or complete you or fix you or whatever I felt like needed to happen in my state of unawareness. So, and I like that we get to do that with all of us, all three of my kids, to be so present with them and understand what their emotional needs are and being able to meet it in a healthy way rather than in a controlling way, which is
Mm.
does nothing. So Garen,
Yeah,
how are you?
How was your healing journey?
How are you breaking cycles in your family?
yeah, yeah. I appreciate you asking. So one of the things that we didn't have much in our family, my immediate family, was we weren't a touchy-feely, huggy family. And so my mother was, she was very focused on, and both my mother and father were in the home. But my mother, she was very focused on ensuring that we went to school, went to church, had something in our bellies to eat. She completed that, like solid. She was going to school as a teacher. She was going to get her master's degree. She had a lot going on also. And my father, he was a diesel engineer, so he was a mechanic, and he would travel. And we had a store on our property in St. Thomas. So a lot of the marine world would come to us, and they were buying parts for their boats and for their heavy machinery and stuff like that. So we had a lot going on around our home. So there wasn't any time for the touchy-feely. Okay. All right. Now, as we grow older, as we've grown up, my brother, my eldest brother, he's still there, as well as my middle brother. They're still on the island, and every day, like they go to my mother and they hug her. Like, hey, moms, and they hug her and they ensure that she's hugged because we found out that she grew up in a house where there wasn't much
Mm-hmm.
emotions shared, right? So
Yeah.
she was just reflecting what she understood growing up. So there's compassion there. There's grace there for all the things that we missed. We now are conscious enough to give it to her in return. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's still a challenge. I just spoke with her yesterday or on Sunday, over the weekend. And when we were getting off the call, I'm like, I love you, moms. And she's like, you children have a blessed day. I'm like, moms, hey, I said, I love you. I love you too, son. Right? So it's like that, you got to like pull it out of her. Again, no harm. It's just what she needed. She's 84 years old, so we don't. She's an active 84-year-old, but we don't really like hold her to all of those things that were ingrained into her. So for us, in my home, there's a lot of love going around. There's a lot of touchy feeliness. There's a lot of hugs, right? A lot of rubs on the shoulder, rub on the head, kiss on the head. My daughter, sometimes I'm in here in my office, and she would just come home and just walk in and just give me a hug and walk back out. And that is my youngest daughter's, like, that's her love language. So I remember going through COVID, going through reading The Untethered Soul, all those books. I kind of started reading a lot of those during the COVID period. And sometimes my daughter would just come in and hug me. It would bring me to tears, right? Because I needed the hug. I wanted the hug. And she's just a kid, but she didn't even know the power behind what she was doing, right?
Yeah.
And I was very thankful and grateful to God um for giving me a daughter who is that naturally. It's like the world is always meeting our needs. The question is, are we aware? Are we
That's
paying attention? You know? And once we get to that point where we're paying attention, all of a sudden we see abundance everywhere. So the
yeah.
things that we say we don't have, I'm lacking this or I need this, it's given to us all the time, all the time. Just pay
Yeah.
attention, you know? So that's the kind of state that I'm in. That's one of the cycles that we're breaking. And then also talking to our kids. My parents, now, okay, I know you can say you don't consider Guyana, the islands, but
Not
we do.
me. I do, but a lot of the Caribbean people they throw shade at me.
When we think Guyana, we think we all together. Y'all be y'all.
Thank
Plain
you.
and simple. So
He said it on video. It's recorded. You.
Yeah, come after me if you got a problem with that. But there wasn't a lot of talking going on. It was
Oh
either
God, no.
do as
Yeah.
you're told, right? And kids supposed to be seen and not heard. So I'm paying attention to how you and your daughter are communicating and how you guys are both growing together at the same time, which like does not happen, right? Like that's not a common thing, especially growing up in the islands. So the fact that you have the ability and you have this gift of being able to do that with your daughter, beautiful, priceless, right? She's seen the kid in you, right? You get to be a kid around her and do the silly things, and she honors you for it. There's no judgment, there's no guilt that's passing back and forth. These things just don't happen. So with us and our kids, my wife and I, we spend a lot of time sharing with our daughters what we learn as adults right now. So if we're reading a book and we learn something new, we pass it on. We put it into the group text or we'll talk about it at the end of the day. They don't understand it all, and we know that they don't, but we say to them, hey, we're giving you this gift. Let it sit on your mind. We'll talk about it, but let it sit on your mind. When the time comes later on, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from now, it's there. You just tap into it. That's right. My parents did talk to me about that, and I'm seeing it happen. We've already equipped you, right?
Yeah.
So we trust that they are able to learn. So we share with them. We share with them our faults, the things where we made mistakes in our lives before them, as well as during the time. We apologize to our kids, right? I might, I might be really testy. It's a stressful week or what have you, and they come in and I might snap at them. I'm gonna go back to their room and talk to them and say like, hey, daddy's a little bit, right? It's no excuse. I apologize. Here's what I'm going to do to try to not let that happen again. This is my practice, right?
Mhm.
We show them that so that they too can model that. So sometimes they're the ones coming back and apologizing to us for being a little too testy or, or if they lied, they might come back and say like, I lied, knowing that there's grace, right?
Yeah.
So in the islands, if we lied, we're getting spanked, we're getting beat, not even spanked, we're getting beat.
Beat.
Yeah.
Beat.
So so now as adults, man, our kids they come back and they own up for something that they did. It's kind of like, okay, all right. And
Yeah.
then we talk through uh a responsible consequence for their actions, right? So they learn how to work through things, work through conflict, all these different tools, man, that we equip them with that we didn't have. And again, we
Mhm.
don't blame our parents for it. We just recognize that it's a cycle,
Yeah.
right?
It's an acknowledgement.
That's it. That's it. So that's how we're breaking the cycles that were kind of passed down to us.
I really like that, that you're doing that. I feel like a lot of the words that you use, and one of the most beautiful things that I appreciate too
Mm.
about you is that you teach them to sit with it. And I also know that you sit with it. That's such a valuable thing because I feel like so many of us in whatever space we are, that as soon as something is brought to our attention, we want to defend it immediately. And we want to like, oh no, that's not what it is. But that's not necessarily true. It may be true, but it may not. However, it's important to see what comes up because we just don't know what we don't know. And we have to always be open to have new information so that we can just make better decision, not only better decision, but awareness,
Yeah.
everything comes from that. And if I that's one of the things that I love too. It's kind of like what I see in you that I see in myself is being able to reflect, to
Mm.
self-reflect and just see what fits and what come like that has been the most beautiful thing. Just let it play out for a couple days. Even if it doesn't mean anything, something will come up. Like I've never had an experience when nothing comes up. It's something's always come up.
Something that Tasia said earlier when she talked about how many like how you made poor decisions or you had unhealthy options for some of the things that you were going through, right? I too struggled with that. But I felt as though I wasn't equipped with healthy options. I didn't know
Yeah.
how to find them. I didn't know where they were. I didn't even understand boundaries. Right? There were so many things that I didn't learn until I was probably in my 40s, to be honest. And able to find hobbies or create hobbies for myself and then knowing when to tap into those hobbies when I'm feeling a certain feeling. So again, we're talking about rebranding feelings. So
Yeah.
sometimes I would have this anxiety, this anxious feeling within me, and I would think I need to do a particular unhealthy thing. All right. I started taking some medication, and the medication started giving me the same feeling. And I'll be fine. I'll be just sitting at my desk or doing something, driving, and then I'm feeling the same feeling. And I'm like, why do I feel this way? Like, I'm fine. This is me talking to myself in my truck or what
Yeah.
have you, right? Like, I'm fine. Like, what? Gerren, why do you feel this way? Because the things that fire together wire together, right? So everything inside of me was saying, like, it's this unhealthy thing that you need. And I'm like, I'm fine. So I started taking inventory of what I did in my day. And then I was like, the medication. Let me do this again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Medication again. It's like, I feel that's what it is. So what that told me was I could now start redefining my feelings.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, but check that out. I
Yeah.
just grew a new muscle. And it's so
Yes.
weird, right? So I started, as feelings started to come through, I started to welcome them as opposed to suppressing them. And as
Yeah.
it passed through, it was like, what do you want to do with that, Garen? I like this kind of power. And I would define it as something, and then I would go with it. And it would just work, kind of like you were saying, like things would
Mhm.
just work. I'm like, yo, so I can redefine my feelings? Power. So I was first off now being willing to accept the feelings, which is awesome because I'm not afraid of them anymore. And then I was able to redefine them. Like, that's powerful. What else can my body do?
Yeah.
It's curious excitement now with emotions and all of that stuff. So when you talk about acknowledging that I would sit with it, it's because I now know I have power
Yeah.
to do so, which
Yeah.
is so amazing for me, man, because for so many years I suppressed my feelings and I chose what I thought is what they meant. And those
Yeah.
were unhealthy things, and it didn't serve me well, man. So now I have more choice. I'm
Yeah.
aware of the choice I always
That's
had.
right. You're
But
consciously choosing how to behave too.
yeah. So it's pretty cool.
That's beautiful. It's like when I didn't know about the attachment styles like growing up. Like I mean, again, Guyanese. You're either what are you sad for? Why are you
Yeah.
angry? You're ungrateful. Like,
Yeah.
my mom didn't know any better. Like again, I don't need to defend her because I know that she was just doing what she learned, right?
Mhm.
But I read that book Attached and it just was like so deep with society.
Yeah.
And then I studied Bowlby's theories of attachment. So if 0 to 3 is when we form our attachment, and that's when our nervous system learned this regulation. And
Mm.
by the time we are 7, we are now in our limiting belief. Then by the time we're a teenager,
Then living the limiting
belief, we never learn to separate our feelings from our behavior.
Yeah.
So we become I'm just a
This is who I
bad
am.
kid or I'm
Mhm.
behaving badly, but I've learned that I needed to go beyond that because there's a missing need there. What is that emotional need that's missing? I maybe my sabotage is I would yell.
Okay.
I would get upset and I would just like, Guyanese woman, you know. And it comes with a lot of, I'm a lot calmer now. But, there was a time when I wasn't, but I didn't know it was because I needed to feel understood. And so beyond the behavior, I'm not right in behaving that way, but I became this and somebody that I'm not proud of, but I just wanted to feel heard and understood. And that's because I lost my voice at a very young age. And
Yeah.
that just didn't sit well. That anger was my fuel. It's now my passion. It's my advocacy.
Yeah.
It's when I fight for what I believe in. That's all part of my purpose and how I what is it? Self-motivate is the word, I believe. So it was like none of us knew what that was. And it was most like maybe a couple weeks or months, no, a couple months ago, Tasiyah and I were talking about if we learned our attachment style and our nervous dysregulation from 0 to 3. We identified when she was like maybe 3 months old where she learned fear. And so her response has always been fear. Like whenever she responds to fear, mine was anger.
Mm.
So just being able to like put those things together, but we wouldn't be able to do that if we weren't welcoming new information, to
Sure.
sit with new information and also see how, because I chose to believe that I wasn't good enough for my father, how that showed up in my relationships and how I recreate that relationship at work with my friends, with the partner, like just everybody.
Yeah.
It's so damaging. So I wouldn't be able to get there if I wasn't
Mm.
open to exploring it and sitting with it. And that's something that I love having conversations about because I like to know what people's limiting beliefs were and where it came from and how they overcome that and what is it like. I still get triggered, but I know, okay, I'm aware that I'm triggered, and that's something that I can put aside for right now and deal with
Yeah.
later and still operate from my highest self. Or
Yeah.
I can maybe the situation needs a cuss out. Who knows?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I mean, the fact that you notice that you are being triggered, like that's beautiful, right? Because you
Yeah.
and then the one thing that I'm teaching my daughters as well as some of my clients is like you can close the gap between when you're triggered and when you get back to being centered again. So take for instance, my eldest brother and I, we're in business together. We have a couple other businesses back in the islands. And he and I We're very close, have always been. And sometimes, when I was in college, we would have an argument with each other, and then we won't talk for like 2 weeks. Like, he's in
Mm-hmm.
Islands, I'm in Maryland, and we wouldn't talk. And every day that goes by, it's like we should be working, we should be doing stuff together. Like, what are we? And it got to the point where it was like, what are we doing? We're wasting time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know that I love you. I feel that you love me. We have a disagreement about a thing that's outside of us. Why are
Yeah.
we wasting time? Let's just solve the problem or agree to disagree and get back into it, right? So we went from 2 weeks to like a week to like days to like a day to like a couple hours. And it's just like, I'll call you back later today.
Yeah.
Cool, right? And we jump right back into it, man. So it's like closing the gap between when you're triggered and when you resolve,
Mm-hmm.
in a healthy way, right? So it's not
Yeah.
like we're suppressing things. We're just like, listen, man, I didn't appreciate the way that you spoke earlier, or I didn't like the tone that you had, or the suggestion that you made. Like, it felt disrespectful. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just letting you know that's how it felt. That's how it made me feel. Let's get back to work, right? And we just get
Yeah.
back to work. So
Yeah.
closing the gap. So you might be at your desk being triggered and be able to resolve it within a short period, and you're
Yeah.
back to being you. You don't
Yeah.
even have to take the time later on to deal with it because you're like, I'm good. I know where that came from. You know,
Yeah.
that's it. And you can release it.
I think sometimes too where that's so relatable is like if it's my siblings, it's really me trying to earn my dad's love.
Mm.
And it's like, okay, that's misplaced. And if I wasn't moving from with that intention or
Mhm.
that thought, I wouldn't be feeling the way that I'm feeling because our thoughts create our feelings. And I'm sure I don't know. I don't want to go too much into that
I
right
understand,
now.
though. I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
You
So it's
know,
like, being able to like recognize that has been such a relationship glue, I would say.
Yeah.
Because and that's one of the that's why I wrote the book too, because it's what my children has taught me
Mhm.
is we are all going to get triggered. We're going to trigger each other. It's a growth opportunity. But
Sure.
what is it what's the need behind of it? Because like for my daughter now, these are my children, so it's important for me to pay attention to what their emotional needs are. So I had to learn what mine is. And if I'm going to communicate and I'm going to have a tone, that doesn't make them feel safe enough to want to be
Mhm.
receptive to me. So I also have a responsibility to, for my tone to say, okay, the example is like when someone messages you and say, have a good day. To
Mhm.
me, that's not engaging. It's like a have a
Mhm.
good day. And
Listen.
yes, and I know
Mhm.
that they mean well, and that's at least they thought of me, and that's very sweet. But there's no more engagement. Do you want
Mhm.
to like how do you plan on spending your day? What are you looking forward to today? Something that brings in more connection rather than
Yeah.
that disconnection. So similarly, I have a responsibility for how I respond. So if someone says something to me and I'm getting triggered, I'm making it that mean that they don't want to have conversation with me instead of they might be going through their own thing. Maybe I can ask from curiosity. I don't have to be like, well, did you mean to sound like an asshole? And be like, hey, what's
Mhm.
going on? Are you okay? I noticed that your tone is a little different. Is there something that we need to talk about before getting to that,
Yeah.
dysregulated state? But then
Yeah.
like, of course, after there's so much safety in those kinds of relationships, one of the things that Tasia does, like, that I love is if she sees me getting a little upset, she's like, Mom, your inner teen is showing up. Tuck her ass in. Like
Oh man, that's funny. That's funny.
before that would be full-fledged like on her
Mhm.
and it
Mhm.
would like she would get total chaos from that. But
Yeah.
now it's like, being understanding that we just took the time to really
Yeah.
understand how we like to connect. And
Yeah.
I like that
mhm,
I've been able to process my own triggers though too,
mhm,
because like the way I look at it is like when you're triggered, there's a reason that you're triggered.
Sure.
And then I get to like understand the full capability of why am I triggered and how do I navigate this? Because now if I get triggered, I'm able to instantly process why am I triggered.
yeah.
And then like my emotional regulating comes in within moments later.
Mhm,
So it's like I can be dysregulated and I can have a dysregulated response, but then even in that same 3 second time frame or whatever, however long it is, I'm able to sit there and be like, okay, this is a me problem. What do I need? And then immediately give it to myself in that
mhm.
moment. And like versus a couple years ago, it would have been everybody's problem.
Yeah.
You have to deal with my dysregulated self, and I don't care if I'm persecuting you and I'm making you the villain of my story. Versus now, it's a much more peaceful resolution. I
Yeah.
don't feel like I'm going manic or I'm going crazy or like it's just a more peaceful.
And I like that too because it's like for me, emotions are a blessing. They all have a meaning, they all have a reason for it. So most of the time, like if I'm sad, I need to release it. I don't need to release it on anybody. I need to have
Just the
that time,
release of it and it's
right?
done.
Like get that three song cry out, and then from there, there's something that said, okay, you set a rigid, like I set a rigid boundary and I'm not proud of that, or maybe I have some guilt or shame, whatever it is. It's like I'm saying that the I'm not operating from who I want to operate from, because what is the because,
Mm-hmm.
right? Am I did I Is it because I disrespected someone and I feel remorse and I want to make it right, and without the expectation of that person,
Yeah.
being there, but at least I will be able to go to sleep at night and know that I extended love in a space where it could have been chaos, or maybe I
Yeah.
made it chaos. But when I was in my 20s, a friend of mine, I felt like I betrayed her. Like I completely betrayed her.
Yeah.
And I saw in her face the tear roll down her eyes, and I felt like total crap. And I avoided her because I was so ashamed.
Mm.
And 3 weeks went by, and I was like, man, I really value this friendship. I miss this person, and I'm just gonna speak from my heart. Immediately, she gave me a hug and she told me that she forgave me. That was like my grandparents instilled like compassion and forgiveness
Mm-hmm.
inside of me, but
Mm.
like to actually feel forgiven by someone, that was a game changer. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I know what the power of repair looks like. I know what the
That's,
power of like having that really. We would go and not talk to like family members and friends. We would not talk to each other for decades, and then we miss out on such beautiful things over what? Something that was just what is it, 90
a,
seconds?
a-
It takes
yeah, a
90.
blip in all of history. Yeah, literally.
Yeah. And
Literally.
I've experienced regret and have the remorse, and like there's a lot of me that experience regret, and I'm like, I don't want to live constantly like in retrospect, like, oh my gosh, I did that, I'm not proud of myself. Oh, I did that, I'm not proud, and be like, it's constantly like putting a heavy cloak on or like
Yep.
clay on top of me and
Yep.
carrying that heaviness. I want to be free from this. I don't want to have my past constantly being held against me
Yeah.
or by myself, or just like living in that cycle of shame. I wanted to be ahead of it. I wanted to be like, okay, this is how I'm going to behave, this is the
Mhm.
outcome that I want to have, this is the experience I want to have,
Yeah.
and being conscious with it. And just being able to go inwards and see, like, one of my love languages, my two love languages, what is it again? Physical touch and
Physical touch
quality
and
time.
quality.
And for me, at first I used to think like that's the surface level stuff, right? Okay, I like to be around you. If you're on your phone, it's fine as long as we're together. No, that was codependency. What I really loved was I grew up my grandparents had 12 kids and they adopted a whole bunch. So it was a big house. There were 6 sons. So that meant that the daughters came to live at home. I mean, the daughter-in-laws lived at home. So that was a big, huge 75 household people. So I like having connections. I
Yeah.
like feeling like I'm part of a community. I like feel like my grandparents are respectable. So
Mhm.
when someone says you are Samsel's granddaughter, I'm like wearing that with pride.
Pride, like you're bad. Yeah, bad
Yes.
to honor.
So it's like I like to feel that way in relationships with people. Like
Mm.
I don't want to just know Garen, like, oh, we did an episode together. Like
Yeah.
I want to know that we have, like it's deeper than
It's
that. Like
more than that. Yeah.
cultivating the kind of relationships that last lifetimes, and having community.
Yeah.
And when when I think about that now, we as human beings, that is one of our core needs, is to have connection and
Community.
community,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
So without that, when I was in my avoidant phase, I was sabotaging my very own need for connection and
Same here.
pushing people away. So I'm not getting the hugs and I'm not getting the like, and
Yeah.
all. She's abusing me.
On camera.
Not anymore.
Oh man,
I
we
was
passed that. We're good now.
so, I mean, sorry, we can go on and on about
No.
these
Yeah.
topics. I feel like the conversation can flow so well, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, really awesome to do the work. And I think that when I didn't know what I didn't know, I was a shell of myself. And I'm thankful for the people who planted the seeds, who loved me when I felt unlovable,
Mm.
and just the ones who came with the light in the darkness. And I'm also proud of my own willingness to do it different, because
Awesome.
ultimately it takes, me to want to make that
Yeah.
difference.
It's a choice. It's a choice.
Yeah.
I love it.
Do you have anything else you want to share? Is there a message you'd
No,
like to
this is,
get out to our community and at all?
I will say this.
Yes, say
Yeah, right. So
it.
a lot of things that we do, and you both have mentioned it, where it's like it's based on our belief. It's how we were raised that triggers, that dictates how we act. And you talked about the different stages, right? What we learn 0 to 3, and when we're 7, and so forth, when we become teenagers and adults. I would say, man, a lot of our decisions are based on fear of the unknown, fear that has been instilled in us from others, right? This whole thing of hiding and shame and guilt, that's all fear-based. And what I have learned for myself, and no matter what it is you believe in, me, I believe in God. And I look at the things that we fear as the platform for him to do his greatest work, the greatest transformation, right? If we fear a thing and we put it on the altar, like we just like, let me lay it out here. He's like, I can do so much with this, right? And it becomes a thing where he's so excited to just do an amazing thing for everyone in our lives. So for the people who have met you, who have seen your past self when you handle things one way to how you're doing it now, they have seen a transformation. They now are experiencing a transformation. Not just your daughter, right? Because I mean, you guys grew up together, right? Like you
Yes,
worked on
we
these things
did.
together, right? But I'm talking about the people outside of your home who like when they see you, like this, what to see it? Wait, Laziena? Like this is how you guys are responding now? It becomes such a transformation for them, and they're like, how can I get some of that? And what happened? And that's what I believe God delights in. He delights in doing a transformation within us so that everyone witnesses it. And for the most part, people will say, like, it couldn't be just you. Like something had to help you do this, right? So in all of history, like I believe we're made in the image of God, and like that's how he gets to show himself through us into the world. So with you saying, you don't want to look at this what we've done today as just being transactional, right? I want to see you online. I want to like tap in, like, hey, how you doing? Not just look at your post, but actually like send the message or make the call and tap in and see like what's going on for real. Like we wouldn't have been meeting had we not had a similar experience, right?
Hmm.
Like we're having right now.
No.
I'm still here.
Oh, he's
Okay.
still here.
Come back. Where did
I'm still here.
where did your camera
Oh,
go?
oh, hold tight, hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. I'm sorry.
No, you're
Um,
okay.
but had we not had experiences in our past, I wouldn't have recognized you, or you wouldn't have recognized me online, right? So with the language that we use, it's like that person knows something. That person's been on a journey and it brings us together. So here's somebody from Puerto Rico, St. Thomas, the Virgin Islands, Guyana. All of a sudden we're here talking. We get to see each other's experiences and perspectives. Like we're on the planet all at the same time in all of history. In all of history, we're on the planet at the same time. This is awesome for us to be connecting.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So I'm grateful for you reaching out. And then of course introducing me to Tasiyah, right? And your one of your twins. All of that
Yeah.
is beautiful, man. It's beautiful. I'm glad to be
Thank
here.
you. Thank you. I'm glad.
That's what I got to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was a very meaningful input. Thank you. And
Mhm.
I appreciate like the questions in the beginning, especially that cry was a very healing cry, and I'm most likely gonna
Awesome.
be late tonight
What was
anyways.
that? Okay.
I will say to facing the fear is fulfilling the absence of love. The more you face the fear, the more you're giving love back to yourself. And that's coming from somebody whose nervous system was completely full of fear from the time she was put into the world. And now I will face my fears. I can't say I'm not scared of anything because I'm sure there's something that will come up,
Sure.
but it's not so bad on the other side.
So bad on the other side. I like that.
Really. Oh.
Thank you guys for coming on to this episode of Breaking the Cycles. We will see you on.
No.
Wait. Oh, wait. Yes. Where can we reach you on? Like,
Just
how can we reach
anyone
out to you?
want to
Oh,
connect with you.
yeah, absolutely. So my website is GerrenSprouth.com. That's easy, right? If you'd put my name, spell it out clearly or what have you, or you can see it right here, right? GerrenSprouth.com. And a direct email if anyone wants to reach out to me. What I'll do for your audience. Hey, based on when you post this, 2 weeks after that, I will offer five. If you'll gift five complimentary 90-minute coaching sessions. Compliment on me. I'll give you five to gift to whomever you'd like, right? You can use it yourself or you can give it to somebody else. I will honor that. And you can email me at contact@gerrensprout.com.
Thank you. That's such a
Easy enough.
lovely offer.
Yeah.
I will put it in the description.
Yeah.
Thank you again
Got you
for coming
covered.
on to this episode.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
Now I will do
Now
my
you
outro.
can do your outro.
Thank you for coming on to this episode of Breaking the Cycles. We will see you on the next one.